Well, hello everyone. Here's a short video about what is going to be included inside the second expansion to Pulp Detective. Let's start with the new items card. This is now citizens this time. We have a mayor, district attorney, a news editor, a bartender, costume calls, and Girl Friday die. Well, I'll show that in a minute here. They do some new and different things. A lot of what's going on in this expansion are based upon some requests that various players had and fans had of the game, the things they'd like to see, as well as some things that I wanted to do from the start. So we're adding those in. Again, you can see sort of what they do there. We have a new Girl Friday die. This is a little origami version of it while we were doing playtesting. This has 4 of the normal twist icons and 2 new ones. We have a crystal ball, which allows you to place the next 3 storyline cards face up during phase 1, so you can see which you are going to want to go after. There's also a compass, which when rolled will let you swap any 2 cards in your storyline or subplot rows, which is a very important part of the game because in your storylines and subplots, if you can get the edge icons, in this case these 2 yellow ones, to match, you're able to have some rerolls in the game. So placement of those cards within your main storyline and your subplots will be important. So there's that. Let's go on to our 3 new types of cards: henchmen, gun mauls, and traps, which are going to be part of one deck. You're going to be shuffling these 18 cards together and drawing 4 of them to use during the game. Cards are going to be drawn when you fail on a investigation. So in addition to getting a twist marker on a failed investigation, you get to pull one of these cards. These are a bit push your luck because the traps are not good things, but both henchmen and gun mauls are. And these types of cards were specifically designed to use the yellow and black cubes that came with the base game. Alvin had a little accident and did not include the red and blue cubes, so the yellow and black, so he asked me to design something this time around, and we're going to actually be giving you the red and blue cubes in the second expansion, so those will now match the base game rules. The rules didn't really change anything, it just was different colors. So we have black and yellow cubes. Let's start with the henchmen here first. Quickly run through these. We have the Audley twins. We have Samuel. We have the Professor. We have Dutch. We have Grover the Garrote. And we have Clove. So for each of these cards, when these are drawn, they're going to have a particular set of patterns on them, and they're going to allow you to gain permanent twist markers in the game, or in this case here, 4 hours of time once. So within your storyline subplots, if you, once this card is drawn, can place 3 cards in a row in your subplot or storyline that match the icons here. In this case here, if we would have 3 cliffhanger cards in a row, you would be able to then gain this power. In this case here, we would have a new twist marker, and this does not count towards any time penalty. In the base game, if you had 3 or 4 twist markers in hand, you would have to pay an hour or 2 hours of time to keep those. So these are not subject to that rule, and in this case, if you succeed, you would place a yellow cube on that card. Gun mauls work similarly, yet different. They are going to allow you to gain dice and clues. We have Red Letter, Sally the Fence, Allspice, Ruby Wednesday, Stiletto, and Daisy Collins. And in this case here, you need to roll these die values during a turn. So 1 eyeball, 1 footsteps, 2 newspapers, and 1 bullet on the yellow dice would get you this card then. And once again, you're going to be placing a yellow cube on it to signify that you have received that bonus. There also are 6 traps. We have C is for Chop Shop. We have M is for Macrame. We have V is for Ventriloquist. I is for Injection. R is for Radium. And lastly, N is for Newsstand. And for each of these, you're subject to a penalty for a certain number of rounds. It's usually 2 or 3 rounds. In this case here, you're not able to use your detectives or police inspector's special action for 3 rounds. You're going to be using the black dice on this one, and you're going to be marking, counting down the rounds until those are over, and you can then use those actions again. Let's see what else we have here. We have some new detectives and police inspectors. First up are new detectives, Sarah Daly. She's allowed to, in a storyline, once you align 4 cards of the same type horizontally, you can gain a clue. So again, in this case here, if we would have 4 cliffhanger cards in a row, you gain a clue because of that. We have Brick Larson here. You can reduce time by 3 hours to gain a permanent twist mark of your choice, which again doesn't count towards that time penalty. We have Olga, who's our new police inspector. And during any nighttime hour that occurs in phase 1, you can see the top 3 cards in the investigate deck before deciding which to keep. And lastly, we have Captain Harrington here, who gains twist markers on successes instead of on failures as per the original base game rules. We have 2 new cases. The case of the previous Games Master, which is 19 hours, and you're able to use the red and gray dice if you do not currently own them as items in the game. And we have the Society of Corpses, which are a new set of criminals, and they feature 22 hours, and in this case in here, twist markers are wild at night, so during the nighttime hours you have wild twist markers. Those new criminals, the Society of Corpses, we have Ronnie the Chin, we have Mr. Holiday, we have the Chairwoman, we have Lady Ace, the Obscurant, and we have Valerian Jack Callahan, and they have some differences. So, in the original game, we had a small probability error that the blank die value would come up slightly more often than the other die values, causing Spider to be chosen as the criminal in slightly more games. So we've now, I've designed this to help mitigate that. So if you're using the original basic criminals, you would temporarily dislocate Spider to your box and instead use these criminals. If the blank die value is the one that is going to be preponderant in the storyline deck, you're then going to look at the second most seen die value. In this case, it would be 4, and that's then going to choose what the criminal is. You can also use these 6 criminals by themselves as just regular criminals in the game. Again, you're going to be looking at the bottom number, in that case, deciding which of the criminals is the one who is guilty. Again, if there's blank comes up, then you're going to follow the rules I just mentioned. In this case also, now we are rolling for eyeball, footsteps, 2 newspapers, and a bullet. In this case, each one of these criminals has an X over one of these icons. You cannot use any twist markers to substitute for that icon, so you must roll that icon during the game. And lastly, we have a new feature here on the criminals. You may remember from the original game, all of the detectives and police inspectors have an icon in the upper right. That icon was referenced in the double cross cards in the first expansion, and this one here, if your detective's icon matches one of those 2, you gain a special ability. In this case here, you can double any time remaining on the time track, and there are various others. I got one over here, the Obscurant. Choose any other criminal or mastermind from the base game or any expansion to confront. We have, let's look at Lady Ace here. She counts previously rolled yellow die twice, so there's some interesting little features with that. So that is the quick rundown. I believe that is everything. Yes. So thank you again all for backing, and we'll be back in touch soon about the locations. Bye.